For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borg on 0414 429 391. Good day, Maltaussies show. I'm Joe Borch and I'm going to be with you for another week, and I trust that you're going to enjoy the show. والهامرون كلاب قاعدين يorganizzaw Hunter Valley Christmas Light Special, Saturday, 10th of December. We leave from La Valette at 11:30 a.m. and 12 o'clock from Greystanes. We're going to the smelly cheese tasting and also wine tasting, etc. And then, after, we go to the lights, and of course, we enjoy the atmosphere in there and on the coach on the way back and on the way to Hunter Valley. For more details, please give me a ring on 0414 429 391, and of course, we'll give you the information you need. New Year's Eve, don't miss it. At the Hamrun Club, 5-course meal, including the bar. And the bar will close at 11:45 p.m. So we can start the celebrations for midnight. And we're gonna have Charlie Muscat who entertain us on that night. It's only $65 for members and $70 for guests. You will never, ever find that price with best food in the area for that low. And we only have 150 seats, so we want to make sure that you are comfortable. For tickets and more info, please give me a ring on 0414 429 391. We're going to open the show with a beautiful song by Chiara and Ludwig about Christmas. Enigma Paranormal with your host, Anton Grasso.
Forsi qed nerġgħu niltaqgħu.
Jekk Alla jrid.
Imxi Gday, tlaqna.
Charles! Ser ikonna nerġgħu mmorru għandik is-sinjura tal-biera.
Għaliex?
Insejt il-kartiera tas-sigaretti warajja.
Iva, skuża oħra biex terġa' tmur tara.
Kieku skuża se nieħu lilek miegħi, ma tafx dik il-kartiera ma tagħmlu sentimentali għalija.
All right, għax ħallilek in-nannu. Fimtek, m'hemm immorru kif għandna ċans. Imma noqogħdu attenti għax dik-darba jekk jaqbluna ma nħelsux b'ġurnal.
Iwa, imxi, ejja ħammorru. Żgur li din kienet it-triq. Ma tiftakarx anke għaddejna meħdej dak li kienet jaħdem hemmhekk. Imma id-dam mhix din kienet żgur. Il-faċċata ma kienx traskurata hekk.
Mhux forsi għax kien id-dlam, mhux.
U xi dlam. Ma tiftakarx kemm kienet sabiħa l-bieraħ. U ma tiftakarx ġewwa kif kien.
Da żgur li niftakar, da skemm kien lussus u miżmum tajjeb il-bieraħ ġewwa.
Allura taħseb li sinjuri bħal dawk se jitraskuraw il-faċċata hekk? Ma din mhix traskura, din abbandonata mitlu għal kollox x'jals.
Isma' boy, isma' ma tafx tgħid li min joqgħod hawnhekk hux.
Did-dar dejjem vojta, sakemm ma joqgħodx fiha ħares.
Imma l-bieraħ kien joqgħod xi ħadd żgur hawnhekk.
Meta l-aħħar li ġejtu għaw, sih?
Il-bieraħ għaliex.
Kif jista' jkun? Ma nagħmlux kont li kontu fis-sakra bħalma tafu tkunu soltu hux?
Sakra. Jekk dejjem inkunu fis-sakra l-bieraħ żgur ma kontx. Laqqas grupom issejt maħal il-bieraħ.
Ara, isma' nissewwibni. Did-dar insejja. Ma jistax ikun li kontu għaw dil-bieraħ. Il-muftiħ ta' did-dar qiegħed għandi. U jiena ċerta li din illa ma tinfetaħ għal aktar minn 9 snin.
Eżatt, fil-fatt is-sinjorina li kien hawn il-bieraħ tlet niftila jien mit-tieqa għax ħasbet li kienet insit il-muftiħ ġewwa.
X'sinjorina hi? Qed ngħidilkom did-dar battala. Ma joqgħod fiha ħadd. Vojta, fimtuni? Ħadd.
Kollox sew. Ejja ngħidu li għandek raġun. Imma jien nista' nippruvalik li konna hemm ġew għax insejt il-kartira tas-sigaretti warajja. U dik ħadd ma jista' jmerja għax hemm l-inizjali tiegħi fuqha.
Għaribni, jiena jekk trid taf biex nikkuntentakom nista' mmur u nġib il-muftiħ. U niftilkom dik id-dar ħalli taraw xem. Ma nassigurakom taf. Illi m'hemm ġew minnhom se ssibu palazzi tafux. Ara, stennew niftit ħammur inġib il-muftiħ. Ara nisajra dal-waqt inkun magħkom tibżar.
Le, tal-bil żgur ma kienx hekk il-bieraħ.
Jien ċert li din id-dar kienet. Tinsix, is-sinjorina minn hawn ġabitna l-bieraħ minn din it-triq ta' hekk.
Ejja ħalli naraw x'fejjed ta' dik id-dar. Ma taraw x'rajtu l-bieraħ.
Hello!
U xintajja biex tara li dal-post vojt, imma Gday da ma kienx tal-bieraħ hawn.
Il-bieraħ x'imkien hawn, mażgur. Ħadna Teo Kristini. Mara kartira tiegħek. Rajt kif hawnhekk kienet. Il-bieraħ ħallejta fuq xi mejda x'imkien. Issa kif spiċċat hemmhekk.
Xi waħda din sewwa jgħidu li d-dar fiha l-ħares, jien aħjar immur il-barra minn hawn għax jiena nimxa.
Ħares. Il-bieraħ kien hawn sinjorina magħna. Kienet libsa pulitu ma nitkellix bl-istess aċċenti li kellmu intom. Kienet ili tagħna Kristini.
Jekk qed tirreferi għal min qed naħseb jien. Dik ilha mejta madwar 10 snin.
Kif jista' jkun li kienet mejta ngħidlek il-bieraħ kienet magħna hawnhekk.
Imma jekk il-ġrajja hekk kif qed tajt inti bni, dik ma jista' jkun ħadd fl-ispirtu tagħha, tafx. Mhux waħda din did-dar fiha l-ħares żgur.
Forsi ma mietet xejn u l-bieraħ reġgħet ġiet lura magħna.
U ejja Greg, mela mill-bieraħ l-għawd id-dar seta' tinbidlet hekk.
Biex mietet.
Imma nafx ibni. Il-mewt tagħha dejjem kien misteru għal kulħadd. Xi wħud kienu qalu li korriet u baqgħet sejra miskejna. Imma l-għajdut tan-nies huma ħafna u qatt ma tista' tgħid li ma hi l-iktar waħda tajba. Ara aħjar immorru tafux.
Min jaf għandniex ngħidu b'kollox lill-pulizija.
U xi tridna ngħidulhom il-pulizija?
Fuq dak li qaltilna Anġelik dwar il-pillo li tat tabib biex joqtolha.
U inti taħseb li l-pulizija se jemnuna billi ngħidulhom li għaddejna li nixorbu t-tew nikol krustini magħruh?
Ne, bat għalik ma struent, għalik biex tmur malajn, għassabu t-tabib mejjer.
X'waħda dejn, imxi ħan naraw x'ġara.
Valletta, Malta, walking around the city of Valletta, part 1. U il-Hamlin Club din jorganizzaw Hunter Valley Christmas Light Special, Saturday, 10th of December. We leave from La Valette at 11:30 a.m. and 12 o'clock from Greystanes. We're going to the smelly cheese tasting and also wine tasting, etc. And then, after, we go to the lights, and of course, we enjoy the atmosphere in there and on the coach on the way back and on the way to Hunter Valley. For more details, please give me a ring on 0414 429 391, and of course, we'll give you the information you need. At the Hamrun Club, we after volunteers, especially a kitchen hand. Anyone interested, there is a lot of incentives, but when you ring me, I will explain. If you ring up 0414 429 391, I will tell you a lot about it. For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borge on 0414 429 391.
Taħdem wisq.
How do you know?
Kif taf? Kif taf? Kif taf?
Where did you go yesterday evening?
Fejn mort il-bira? Fejn mort il-bira? Fejn mort il-bira?
Who is your favorite writer?
Minu l-awtur favorit tiegħek? Minu l-awtur favorit tiegħek? Minu l-awtur favorit tiegħek?
Who is your favorite actor?
Minu l-attur favorit tiegħek? Minu l-attur favorit tiegħek? Minu l-attur favorit tiegħek?
Please come in.
Tista' tidħol. Tista' tidħol. Tista' tidħol.
Please close the door.
Għalaq il-bieb jekk jogħġbok. Għalaq il-bieb jekk jogħġbok. Għalaq il-bieb jekk jogħġbok.
Please sit down.
Oqgħod bil-qiegħda jekk jogħġbok. Oqgħod bil-qiegħda jekk jogħġbok. Oqgħod bil-qiegħda jekk jogħġbok.
Calm down.
Ikkalma. Ikkalma. Ikkalma.
Please be quiet.
Oqgħod kwiet. Oqgħod kwiet. Oqgħod kwiet.
Don't talk.
Titkellimx. Titkellimx. Titkellimx.
Please listen.
Jekk jogħġbok isma'. Jekk jogħġbok isma'. Jekk jogħġbok isma'.
Please don't make so much noise.
Jekk jogħġbok tagħmilx ħafna storbju. Jekk jogħġbok tagħmilx ħafna storbju. Jekk jogħġbok tagħmilx ħafna storbju.
We continue with St. Paul's Bay. Aura and Bujibba in Malta. I'm going to show you about the history of Malta.
In 1961, the Blood Commission provided for a new constitution allowing for a measure of self-government and recognizing the state of Malta. Giorgio Borg-Olivier became prime minister the following year, when the Stolper Report was delivered. Independent Malta. Nationalist governments. Following the passage of the Malta Independence Act 1964 by the British Parliament and the approval of a new Maltese constitution by 54.5% of voters in a referendum, the state of Malta was formed on September 21, 1964 as an independent constitutional monarchy, with Elizabeth II as Queen of Malta and head of state. The date continues to be celebrated annually as Independence Day, a national holiday in Malta. On December 1, 1964, Malta was admitted to the United Nations. In the first two post-independence electoral rounds, in 1962 and 1966, the Nationalist Party emerged as the largest party, gaining a majority of the parliamentary seats. In these years, relations with Italy were of the utmost importance to secure independence and establish linkages with continental Europe. Malta signed 4 cooperation agreements with Italy in 1967, during a visit of Aldo Moro to the island. In 1965, Malta joined the Council of Europe, and in 1970, Malta signed an association treaty with the European Economic Community. Labour governments. The elections of 1971 saw the Labour Party under Dom Mintoff win by just over 4,000 votes. The Labour government immediately set out to renegotiate the post-independence military and financial agreements with the United Kingdom. The government also undertook nationalization programs and the expansion of the public sector and the welfare state. Employment laws were updated with gender equality being introduced in salary pay. Concerning civil law, civil marriage was introduced and homosexuality and adultery were decriminalized. Capital punishment for murder was abolished in 1971. The following year, Malta entered into a military base agreement with the United Kingdom and other NATO countries, after mediation by Italy's Aldo Moro. Through a package of constitutional reforms, Malta became a republic on December 13, 1974, with the last Governor-General, Sir Anthony Mamo, as its first president. The Jair Republika Act, promulgated the following year, abolished all titles of nobility in Malta and mandated that they cease to be recognized. The party was confirmed in office in the 1976 elections. Between 1976 and 1981, Malta went through difficult times, and the Labour government demanded that the Maltese tighten their belts in order to overcome the difficulties Malta was facing. There were shortages of essential items, water and electricity supplies were systematically suspended for 2 or 3 days a week. Political tensions increased, notably on Black Monday, when following an attempted assassination of the Prime Minister, the premises of the Times of Malta were burned and the house of a leader of opposition was attacked. The end of British presence and shaky relations with Libya and Italy. On April 1, 1979, the last British forces left the island after the end of the Economic Pact to stabilize the Maltese economy. This is celebrated as Freedom Day on 31st of March. Celebrations start with a ceremony in Floriana near the War Memorial. A popular event on this memorable day is the traditional regatta. The regatta is held at the Grand Harbour, and the teams taking part in it give it their best shot to win the much-coveted aggregate regatta shield. Under Mintoff's premiership, Malta began establishing close cultural and economic ties with Muammar Gaddafi's Libya, as well as diplomatic and military ties with North Korea. During the Mintoff years, Libya had loaned several $1 million to Malta to make up for the loss of rental income which followed the closure of British military bases in Malta. These closer ties with Libya meant a dramatic new development in Maltese foreign policy. Western media reported that Malta appeared to be turning its back on NATO, the UK, and Europe generally. History books were published that began to spread the idea of a disconnection between the Italian and Catholic populations, and instead tried to promote the theory of closer cultural and ethnic ties with North Africa. This new development was noted by Boissevin in 1991. The Labour government broke off relations with NATO and sought links with the Arab world. After 900 years of being linked to Europe, Malta began to look southward. Muslims, still remembered in folklore for savage pirate attacks, were redefined as blood brothers. Malta and Libya had entered into a friendship and cooperation treaty, in response to repeated overtures by Gaddafi for a closer, more formal union between the two countries, and, for a brief period, Arabic had become a compulsory subject in Maltese secondary schools. In 1984, the Mariam al-Batul Mosque was officially opened by Muammar Gaddafi in Malta, 2 years after its completion. In 1980, an oil rig of the Italian company Saipem commissioned by Texaco to drill on behalf of the Maltese government 68 nautical miles southeast of Malta had to stop operations after being threatened by a Libyan gunboat. Both Malta and Libya claimed economic rights to the area, and this incident raised tensions. The matter was referred to the International Court of Justice in 1982, but the court's ruling in 1985 dealt only with the delineation of a small part of the contested territory. In 1980, Malta signed a neutrality agreement with Italy, under which Malta agreed not to enter into any alliance and Italy agreed to guarantee Malta's neutrality. Malta's relations with Italy have been described as generally excellent. Constitutional crisis in the 1980s. The 1981 general election saw the Nationalist Party gaining an absolute majority of votes, yet the Labour winning the majority of parliamentary seats under the single transferable vote, and Mintoff remained Prime Minister, leading to a political crisis. The Nationalists, now led by Eddie Fenechadami, refused to accept the electoral result and also refused to take their seats in Parliament for the first years of the legislature, mounting a campaign demanding that Parliament should reflect the democratic will of the people. Despite this, the Labour government remained in power for the full 5-year term. Mintoff resigned as Prime Minister and party leader and appointed Carmenu Mifsud Bonnici as his successor in 1984. The Mifsud Bonnici years were characterized by political tensions and violence. After a 5-year debate, Fenechadami, through the intervention of Dom Mintoff, reached an agreement with Carmenu Mifsud Bonnici to improve the constitution. Constitutional amendments were voted and made effective in January 1987, which guaranteed that the party with an absolute majority of votes would be given a majority of parliamentary seats in order to govern. This paved the way for the return of the Nationalist Party to government later that year. The accession process to the European Union. The general elections that followed in 1987 saw the Nationalist Party achieve such a majority of votes. The new nationalist administration of Edward Fenechadami sought to improve Malta's ties with Western Europe and the United States. The Nationalist Party advocated Malta's membership in the European Union, presenting an application on July 16, 1990. This became a divisive issue, with Labour opposing membership. A wide-ranging program of liberalisation and public investments meant the confirmation in office of the Nationalists with a larger majority in the 1992 elections. In 1993, local councils were re-established in Malta. General elections were held in Malta on October 26, 1996. Although Labour received the most votes, the Nationalists won the most seats. The 1987 constitutional amendments had to be used for the second time, and the Labour Party was awarded an additional 4 seats to ensure they had a majority in Parliament. Malta's EU application was subsequently frozen. A split in the Labour Party in 1998, between the Prime Minister Sant and the former Prime Minister Mintoff, resulted in the government losing the majority. Notwithstanding the President of the Republic's preference for a negotiated solution, all attempts proved futile, and he had no other option but to accept Sant and his government's resignation and a call for early elections. On being returned to office in the 1998 elections with a wide 13,000 vote margin, the Nationalist Party reactivated the EU membership application. Malta was formally accepted as a candidate country at the Helsinki European Council of December 1999. In 2000, capital punishment was abolished also from the Military Code of Malta. EU accession negotiations were concluded late in 2002, and a referendum on membership in 2003 saw 90.86% casting a valid vote, of which 53.65% were yes votes. Labour stated that it would not be bound by this result were it returned to power in the following general election that year. In the circumstances, elections were called and the Nationalist Party won another mandate, electing as Prime Minister Lawrence Gonzi. The accession treaty was signed and ratified, and Malta joined the EU on May 1, 2004. A consensus on membership was subsequently achieved, with Labour saying it would respect this result. Joe Borg was appointed as first Maltese European Commissioner in the first Barroso Commission. Malta in the European Union. Malta's accession to the European Union in 2004 had important implications for the state's foreign policy. Notably, Malta was required to withdraw from the non-aligned movement, of which the state had been an active member since 1971. In the context of EU membership, Malta joined the Eurozone on January 1, 2008. The 2008 election confirmed Gonzi in the premiership, while in 2009 Georgia Bella became president of Malta. On May 28, 2011, Maltese voted yes in the consultative divorce referendum. At that time, Malta was one of only 3 countries in the world, along with the Philippines and the Vatican City, in which divorce was not permitted. As a consequence of the referendum outcome, a law allowing divorce under certain conditions was enacted in the same year. Following a corruption scandal, John Daly had to resign and was replaced by Tonio Borg as Maltese commissioner in 2012. A snap election was called for March 2013 after the Gonzi government lost the parliamentary majority. Joseph Muscat was elected as prime minister. In April 2019, the Parliament elected George Velja as the 10th president of the Republic of Malta to succeed Marie-Louise Calero-Prica. On October 16, 2017, Maltese journalist and anti-corruption activist Daphne Caruana Galizia was assassinated in a car bomb near her residence in Bignia. Her murder caused an uproar of criticism for the Labour government and the judicial system on the islands. Following evidence of implication between Joseph Muscat's close circle and the arrest of Jorgen Fenech, a long series of protests on the islands and international criticism forced the country into the 2019 to 2020 political crisis. This resulted in the resignation of Prime Minister Joseph Muscat, Minister Conrad Mizzi, and Prime Minister's Chief of Staff Keith Schembri. An internal election on the 11th of January 2020 within the Maltese Labour Party elected Robert Abela as party leader and Prime Minister of Malta.
At the Hamrun Club, we after volunteers, especially a kitchen hand. Anyone interested, there is a lot of incentives, but when you ring me, I will explain. If you ring up 0414 429 391. Il-Gday Maltaussies Show edin jorganizzaw Gold Coast Queensland Tour għas-sena id-dieħla mis-6 ta' Ġunju sa' 16 ta' Ġunju. Ijat varjat b'ħafna affarijiet ġo fih. All right? Min ġimmi għaj qabel ximkien differenti jekk kienu hawnhekk jew overseas, jafu li il-hotels u għall-ikel ma tkomx għalfejn tikkonfondu, għax l-ewwel qed inħobb niekol, allura mhux se jkollkom problemi għall-ikel għax bħalma nikol jien tiklu intom. Fl-istess ħin, il-hotels mill-aqwa, all right, ukoll. Għall-aktar informazzjoni jew flyer, etc. ċempluli fuq xejn 414 429 391. U għaw, nista' ngħidilkom li kull ma fadalli 4 seats biss. Unless ikolli iktar kmamar tal-motel bata nkunu line. Ek ma jkollix lilhom, ma nista' nagħmel xejn, kull ma fadal 4 biss. U il-Hamrun Club din jorganizzaw Hunter Valley Christmas Light Special, Saturday, 10th of December. We'll leave from La Valette at 11:30 a.m. and 12 o'clock from Greystanes. We're going to the smelly cheese tasting and also wine tasting, etc. And then, after, we go to the lights, and of course, we enjoy the atmosphere in there and on the coach on the way back and on the way to Hunter Valley. For more details, please give me a ring on 0414 429 391, and of course, we'll give you the information you need. I trust that you'll enjoy the show. And until we meet again next week, God bless. Good day, Maltaussies Show. type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borch on 0414 429 391.